Happy Friday, Oaklawn race fans, as we start another fantastic weekend of racing. Nancy Holthus joined alongside track announcer Matt Dinnerman. Matt, you've had a busy couple of days. You were in the world's shortest parade, the St. Patrick's Day parade,
Yes.
and then last night we were both at the chaplaincy banquet.
We did, and we raised a ton of money for
Yes.
a great cause. And Monday afternoon, we go on that short little street, and that's why they
Bridge
call
Street.
it the
Yep.
shortest St. Patrick's Day parade. And there were, talk about a lot of people
Yeah.
at that. And
Yeah.
I walked by the float. We were throwing out Oaklawn beads and little chocolate coins, and our float, from a biased perspective, I think was the best one.
I'm
Nancy,
gonna
it was pretty
agree with
great.
you on that.
Okay.
I'm a team player. I will certainly agree with
Yes.
you. Yeah, that is a draw. People come from all across the country to participate or to watch that parade. Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders were there. A lot of Oaklawn staff, and looked like a great time. But we had really good weather. It was windy. Not necessarily great for golf, but some really nice temperature days, though.
A very nice temperature days, and we're expecting that through the weekend for the
Yes.
racing week. So we really had to muscle through that cold winter this winter, but spring is upon us, and Mother Nature has said, you know what, I'm going to give you guys a bit of congratulations, and here's a little treat for you.
I think the other day was the, I think they call it the vernal equinox, as that is the official start of spring.
Yes.
So, yes.
I have heard that. I think it happened,
It
yesterday
did,
or
like
2
days ago, I think. Somebody, an owner, Joe, had texted me and said, "Happy vernal equinox." And I wanted to say, thanks. I didn't know what that was until I had to look it up. So
We learn something new every day.
official start of spring. Speaking of that, let's take a look at our weather page to see what's going on outside, as we are currently at 48 degrees. A little cool, but you know what? That's going to go up and up throughout the course of the week. And we do have a fast track winds southwest at 10 miles per hour, and I'm going to say more than sunny skies. It is mostly, but I'm going to say full sunny skies.
Cross out that mostly. It's sunny.
Just a few little smattering of clouds. That's all it is. So yeah, looking forward to today's 10 race card. But first, let's get to our news page, as some ongoings, as we do have Christian Torres, Steve Asmussen, and now End Zone Athletics on top of their respective divisions, and Francisco Arrieta awarded the Jockeys Guild Jockey of the Week. He had such a fantastic run with 5 wins on Friday and 5 combined on Saturday and Sunday. So congratulations to him. That's a big accomplishment. Saturday, very excited. Dawn at Oaklawn, featuring the coach himself. D. Wayne Lucas will be joining me at the break at 8:30. That will be outside. And also tomorrow, our $25,000 college weekend giveaway. We're giving away iPods, iPads, I had to think what that was called, iPads and MacBooks, and also more than $10,000 in scholarships. All you need is to be 18 years or older and have a valid college ID to apply and get a chance to be part of that $25,000 college weekend giveaway. And tomorrow we've got 2 stakes on tap, as we will contest the Purple Martin sprinting 3-year-old fillies, and then the Essex routing for the older boys. So also want to remind you of Out of the Starting Gate with Matt Dinnerman. This week was with Eric Asmussen, and Arkansas Derby Day draw will be on Sunday. I'm very curious. I haven't had a chance to listen to it, Matt, yet, but we've got a graphic of who your guest was this past week. It was the one and only Eric Asmussen, and I love that he knows where that camera is, because there's so many wins, especially in the Whitmore. He was looking over to the camera with that big Asmussen grin. I absolutely love it. So I love your graphic. It looks very, very professional.
Well, shout out to the social media team and our digital marketing team for a job well done with that graphic. And the editing process is second to none, the way they
do
make
a
it all look
fantastic
great.
job.
It's like, you know, I'm here and we do the show, and it's like I'm waking up in the morning. They put all the makeup on. They, you know, get all
the
washed
bells
up.
and whistles.
Exactly.
Our team
so,
does.
Really, they're as big of a part as I am at this. But just a great interview. You want to check it out on YouTube, and it's on Oaklawn's YouTube page. So all you got to do is go to Oaklawn's YouTube page, and while you're there, subscribe to our YouTube page.
Yes.
We've got a ton of great content there. So every week we've got a special guest, but the Eclipse Award winner, Eric Asmussen, a really fun guest to have this week.
Was there something that you learned new about him during that interview?
I would say that one thing I did learn is that he knows all of Steve's horses just like Steve does. I mean, really, it's a family affair there.
Yeah.
Even though Steve's the one training them, they're always communicating. He actually, right after the interview, drove down to Texas and Louisiana to work horses for Steve. So they're a very hardworking family, and that's what I learned is that they're really just all in that barn, and it's a family
sleep,
thing.
and breathe horse racing.
I mean,
and you have to.
If you
level.
asked him about a $10,000 claimer at Sam Houston, even though he's not riding there, he knows all about that horse.
That's a certain type of mindset and a certain part of the brain that is used almost, and I compare it to you calling horses. And before we came on, Matt just has his PPs. I've got PPs, but I've got very detailed notes. You're just X's and O's and crossed outs and circles. That just being able to retain and recall that type of memory and do it every 20, 30 minutes just blows my mind.
Yeah, I thank you.
No,
for that.
I mean, that's a gift that a lot of people try to have but don't possess, and you possess it very, very well.
It's sort of just your brain and what works for you. And I will say there's a lot of memorization involved when it comes to big stables like Steve.
Yeah.
So, but I've almost trained my brain to be short-term memory, even though it's a good memory, because you got to turn the page. I go off of Silks, for example, Nancy.
Yeah.
So if there's a big owner here that has 3 races in a row, I can't think about that 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to call the wrong horse. So,
Which I've yet to hear you do.
Well, knock on wood. Hopefully that continues.
All right, we do have 10 races on the Friday afternoon card, so let's get started. Race number 1, we open this with non-winners of 3, claiming price is $12,500, and it is for fillies and mares going 6 furlongs. Scratch the number 7, Little Burrito, as I would like to call it, Paquito Burrito. So, Matt, what are your thoughts on the opener?
Paquito Burrito. Well done, Nancy. You know your Spanish, so which is a very useful thing in this business. And
you know what? Spanish is, I call it, it's Darwin, use it or lose it.
Yeah.
So, when I worked back at the barns, especially at Hollywood Park, I really did pick up a good vernacular of, and a lot of it is slang, but that's how we speak.
Right.
We always speak in slang. So I see you and I, same 4 numbers, little different mixture.
Sure. I just think Collected Glory, who's the 7-5 morning line favorite, is one that I'm going to try to beat on the win end. Ran second her last couple of races. She hasn't won in about 15 starts. And 2 starts ago, she lost by a neck at 23-1. Second start at this current meeting. Then she went off at 9-1 against 20 claimers. Ran a good second again behind Edith Strudis, who was much the best coming out of a big-time second-level allowance race. So Collected Glory off recent form's the one to beat, but I don't trust her necessarily. So I'm going to go with a long shot here, Spike Light, who last time out didn't run a step going a route of ground, but she was wide on both turns. She's also a late-running sprinter. So I crossed that last race out, cut back from a route to a sprint for trainer Ingrid Mason. 23% first off the claim, is going to be very fit with the cutback in mind. And she is one that is going to be coming from well off of it. That's the main concern. I think she'll close this filly. The question will be whether she has enough pace and enough ground to make up. But I like her at a price, and you look at her 3-back effort, very good when she won that afternoon.
Well, I am going to trust the number 4 Collected Glory today. Now, Matt's right. It has been a minute since this runner has seen the winner's circle, but does race second off the claim for the barn and drops back into the level where she was second, just beating a neck 2 starts back. And she does race second off the claim, as I mentioned. 17% is that stat for trainer Matt Williams. Christian Torres back in the irons and went from a 11% barn to a 21% barn. That's a big jump. So not a whole lot of speed in this particular field, but was a close second when racing from well off the pace. And the numbers for Collected Glory are just trending in that right direction. So I'll see if we can get the first win in quite some time and the second win here at Oaklawn. Race number 2 is set for 6 furlongs as well. Named for Leadership Arkansas, who I had the honor of giving a barn tour to this morning. They're touring our facilities and got to stay in the hotel. A lot of them with trackside rooms, so they got to wake up to a beautiful view of morning training and some of the prettiest sunsets you've seen, or sunrises that you've seen. This is for fillies and mares, a $10,000 claiming, and do have a couple scratches of numbers 5 and 8. 5 and 8 out of race number 2. The 1A, Lady of Devon, does draw in. Matt, what are you thinking here for the second?
Well, I decided to go to the outside back by Gold. Comes off a neck win for 12-5. First off the claim for Steve Asmussen, who's 14% first off the claim. In for $10,000 today. I actually like this move. He owns this horse as well. Even though dropping in for a tag that's a little lower than what he purchased for, think of the math, folks. This is a $33,000 purse here. So he claimed this horse for 12.5. Obviously, they're going to be fees, even though he owns the horse, still associated with training and getting this horse ready. So if this horse is aggressively spotted and he wins, right away he's going to make a couple $1,000s right away. If for some reason this horse gets claimed as well, he's making an extra $10,000. So this is a profit for him just by dropping this horse very, very marginally. And I like this horse's effort last time out. Sat off the pace, rolled home to a win, was coming out of starter allowance races. I like this move. I like the spotting.
All right. Well, I am going to go with the 1A. Lady of Devon is looking for back-to-back wins and has actually won the last 2 of 3. The barn excels with getting winners right back to the winner's circle at 29%. So I like that Krista Torres is sticking around on the 4-year-old filly by Munnings, and too bad it's not an off-track day because Matt and I are both fans of Munnings over a wet surface.
I'm a fan of Munnings on anything.
In general, yes, indeed. Race number 3, let's talk Arkansas bred fillies and mares. It is for 3-year-olds and up, maiden allowance condition. They also race for a purse of $110,000, and they are going to go 6 furlongs in distance. Here's a look at the field of 9. And, Matt, we got a few first-time starters in this one as well.
We do, but I still think runners with experience have a little bit of an edge here, and I took Double Daddy Issues, the even money morning line favorite. This runner was an unlucky loser last time, made a little bit of an early move to engage a contentious pace, stuck around, lost by a nose, was trying so hard and just kept battling and just came up a nose short. Has a sharp work leading up to this. This filly has always worked well in the mornings, just like the times indicate. Yeah. She's always just naturally quick. She's got some ability, but she's got to run under her belt here. I don't think there's as much natural pace in this race, and I think with a race under her belt, she could even run a little bit better conditioning-wise. So Double Daddy Issues, I think as long as she runs her race against this field here, which did not come up particularly strong, even for this main special weight state bred condition, I think she's the one.
Yeah, really gutsy on debut. Watch this replay, and she kind of had about a 1.5 length lead established. A horse came up on the outside, and she really did dig back in. So I'm looking for Double Daddy Issues to get the victory and finally give Kelsey Haar her much deserved first win of the season. And it's racing is all about ebbs and flows. You can see some of the top barns in the country, the top riders. Lulls happen. It is just part of our game, but definitely a lot of people are going to be cheering for Kelsey in race number 3.
I think so. She's first of all, she's great. I mean,
yes,
she's just always positive, very hardworking, has a lot of great qualities, but she's a fan favorite as well. She's been around a while, and people really gravitate towards those jockeys as well that have been here for a long time.
Yeah, and she's a native of Arkansas, Slovak, Arkansas. And shout out to her daughter, Lacey Joe, who is not only a very accomplished horseman in her own right, but a track star out at Lake Hamilton Junior High. So athleticism certainly runs in the family.
Do you know what kind of track and
field
she does?
She does long distance running and also does the pole vault and the high jump.
Wow.
And she is already like pushing the state record, pushing the school records at just, I believe she's in 7th grade. So
wow.
The Lord only knows what that girl can accomplish. So
we might see her in the Olympics one day.
You never know. You really never know. Certainly a college scholarship in her future. Race number 4 is set at 6 furlongs, non-winners of 2, claiming price of $12,500. Fillies and mares 3 and up, and they are going to go 3/4 of a mile. The 8 and 13 are scratched. This is the race that the 1A does draw in off the also eligibles and will run. That being Babe in the Woods.
Babe in the Woods, yes. And she is 12-1, just like her entry mate, Twas Lola. Not that many tracks have this anymore, but for lower claiming conditions, we have the 1 and 1A.
Yes.
So that's if the same owner, I believe, has 2 horses in the same race. I went with Chica Armand top. Nancy, this filly here comes off a 5-length loss for $35,000 non-2 life. Was claimed for $20 when she won that day at Churchill Downs over a muddy track. Her last 2 races, They haven't been bad. 2 starts ago, she was probably outclassed for 39-2, ran 4th that day. Then came back last time and had a bad beginning, got bumped at the break, had to take up sharply, tried to make up some ground, but just had too much to overcome. And the class drop, I think, is going to help her here. So Chica Arma's the pick.
Yeah, she's my pick as well. That considerable class drop is a big boost forward. I like to say the best hop is a drop, and that is exactly what she gets today. It looks like she's found her friends. She does race 3rd off the claim, where the barn is a very high 26% from a good sample size, and 3rd off the claim 40% from a little bit smaller sample size, but still, that is a very impressive number regardless. So yeah, gets that class relief and the services of our leading rider in Christian Torres this afternoon.
He's got a lot of live horses.
He
this
does.
week,
He certainly does. He is back in action. He's making up for those 2 days that he was off last weekend. Race number 5 is a maiden claiming 12,500. Arkansas breds will contest for a $20,000 maiden claim. Fillies and mares 3 and up, and they're going to go 1 mile, utilizing Oaklawn's short stretch of the mile run. And Matt, no surprise to see a full field of 12 just scratching our also eligibles.
Well, what's the shortest way around there? Inside, right?
Inside.
Cutting the corners. So that's who I'm going to go with here. Love Me a Sunset. Here's that one of those angles I like anytime a horse does something for the second time. So this runner is routing for the second time in her career. I will say she got everything her own way, going 1 mile and a 16th last time. It was for maiden 25, so a little bit of a tougher group. And she faded, ran 4th and was well beaten. But the 3rd place finisher came back to win. Sometimes the mile short stretch run a little bit better for horses that may have some distance limitations there. And I think this filly does. I think 1 mile and a 16th was a little far, but she's got that run into her in the route game here. She's cutting back a 16th of a mile, dropping in class. So I think Love Me a Sunset is probably a pretty logical play here, Nancy.
Well, one thing I like about Love Me a Sunset is the key thing that I do like about my top pick, the number 8, She's a Reader, both shortening up from 1 mile and a 16th, and both have speed. They could certainly get out there and duke it out, but was second, a well-beaten second to a clear 8+ length winner last out, and I like the fact that this runner improved last go, running 4th 2 starts back. So that last effort was also when getting blinkers. So blinkers for the second time today, and shortening up just slightly, where this runner has only made 1 prior start. So we'll see if She's a Reader can get the victory in race number 5.
It's a good naming thing, too. You look at the dam of She's a Reader.
No, I did not.
Sexy Librarian.
Oh, I love it. Well, since we're gonna say Sexy
Nancy.
Librarian, yeah, this is because I can't see squat up close.
She's a nice librarian, too. Don't worry. She's not someone that's going to hit you with a ruler.
I feel like the teacher, you know. With that being said, we're going to take a quick break here on this Friday edition of Oaklawn Today, and when we return, race number 6. We'll be right back.
Experience the excitement of horse racing with Oaklawn Anywhere. If you're an Arkansas resident, you can watch and wager on horse racing from around the globe, whether you're at home or on the go, with any smartphone, laptop, or tablet, anytime, anywhere. Download the free Oaklawn Anywhere app and register for a sign-up bonus. With access to past performances, live video, race replays, and expert handicapping data, you're always in the know with no subscription fees. Bet online anytime with Oaklawn Anywhere. Exclusively available to Arkansans. Right, Max? Oaklawn Anywhere. Our season never ends. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Who's ready to take a barn tour for Dawn at Oaklawn?
Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a
Hey, college students, are you ready to win big at Oaklawn? Saturday, March 22nd, Oaklawn is giving away $25,000 in prizes during our college weekend giveaway. That means AirPods, Apple Watches, iPads, MacBooks, and over $10,000 in scholarships could be yours. Feel the thrill of live racing, the rush of winning big, and the chance to score some amazing prizes. If you're 18 or older with a current student ID, you're in. Don't miss your shot at the college weekend giveaway only at Oaklawn. See you there. All right, back with race number 6, which also starts the first leg of the final 50-cent Pick 5 here on the Friday program. This is for non-winners of 3. 12-5 is the tag. 4-year-olds and up going 6 furlongs. No scratches, but I do want to let you know that the number 5 JJ's Ranger is taking blinkers off. Blinkers off of the number 5 JJ's Ranger. Matt, what do you think about the first leg of the 50-cent Pick 5?
Well, I think it's going to be formful, Nancy. Express Cruiser has been beaten the last 2 races as the runner-up, but I think today is the day for him to get a winner's circle photo. Went off favorite last time out, was just second best, but this is a lighter group, I think. So he draws outside, should get a good trip. Third off the claim for Tom Amos here. I like him. I just couldn't find a horse that I really had a strong opinion that's faster than he is, really.
Yeah, same with me, and I literally wrote knock, knock. This runner's been knocking at the door the last couple of starts. Not a fan that this horse is winless in 9 starts at the distance, but has been able to round out the exotic 6 times. Third off the break, the Amos barn is 22%, and third off the claim, an even more impressive 32%. So he's looking for the first win past the distance of 5.5 furlongs, which you don't see very often anymore.
No.
Race number 7 is a starter allowance. Nobody in for the optional claiming price of $50,000. It is for 4-year-olds and up, sprinting 6 furlongs. Just 1 scratch of the number 2 Airborne Elite, which leaves a solid competitive field of 9.
Here's a little morning line price horse. I don't know if we're going to get it on Will B, number 8, for the Phil D'Amato barn. This horse was running in allowance races at Santa Anita, Del Mar. His last 2 races were on the turf. We haven't seen him in 4 months, but this horse on the dirt has better numbers than on the turf, which are his last 2 races. So I think he's back on his preferred surface today, and he's by Will Take Charge, who doesn't have great turf prodigies. So the breeding says this horse likes dirt. This is a class drop for him. I mean, this is a very strong starter allowance race. You've got some horses coming out of allowance races, but I like this horse. He's got tactical speed, does not need the lead. And I actually spoke to Phil D'Amato. I saw him here a couple weeks ago in the middle of the week. He said, I'm just coming in, checking on the string, and we were talking about his meet. And he said, I've got a few bullets, I think, that I've got left in the armor here that we can win with. And he goes, there's my starter allowance horse, Will B. He meant out of all the horses in the barn.
That's good to know.
Yeah, he said, I think this horse is going to be pretty salty if we can get him in a starter allowance, and he's in. So that's not the only reason I picked him. I think on paper he makes a lot of sense, but I think that's a good endorsement.
Absolutely. Any endorsement from a barn who fires at the clip that Phil D'Amato does, definitely take a listen. He's 16% last year, 18% currently at the meeting. I do like Will B as my third choice, but I'm going to go to the far outside. John Holloman, this runner wears the silks of this owner. That's the number 10, Plausible Denial, coming from the barn of trainer Greg Compton, is looking for back-to-back wins after beating several that do return in today's field, including Northern Chill, who won his next start. Now, debuts for the Compton barn, who is 14% off of the purchase, and there could be just the ideal amount of speed to set up for this runner's closing kick. So Plausible Denial, it is for me, and it's interesting because that sounds like a legal term, and John Holloman is a man of the law, being a lawyer, so I think that's pretty interesting.
Maybe he claimed this horse for one of those.
You never
one
know.
Of the reasons.
Just to say I've got Plausible Denial in my barn, you never, ever know. Race number 9. Nope, sorry, race number 8. Getting ahead of myself here. This is a optional claiming 50 starter allowance at the $50,000 level. 3-year-olds sprinting 6 furlongs and had some key scratches. Scratching number 1, Piquant, and the number 5, who is your heavy 7-5 morning line favorite, One True Chance, which kind of leaves this one a little more wide open.
Yeah, I think it's all Sharp Swinger's race to lose here. I respect Waco, though. I mean, he ran third in the Ozark, Waco number 6. So he makes sense, and before then he had won back-to-back races. But Sharp Swinger coming off a very nice win last time out. Has some sharp works. I've watched his workouts on Oaklawn.com, and he looks really good coming out of that maiden race. So I think the light bulbs turned on for him. I would say, Nancy, this is 100% a two-horse race. Waco and Sharp Swinger. Anybody else would be a big surprise. My dad always taught me, he says, son, as you get older, nothing's going to surprise you in this world anymore. So maybe I shouldn't call it a surprise, but I would be surprised if one of these two both of them lose on the same day.
Same. I'm going to go with the other solid contender in here. That is the number 6 Waco, the house horse for the Lucas barn. Gets Tyler Bacon in the irons. Was a good third in the Ozark last out when stepping up to the stakes ranks. And this runner had to steady very, very hard right before the half, costing this runner critical ground, only beat by 5 lengths in that particular stakes race. And that was also in breaking from the rail post. We get off of that rail post position today and also back on Lasix, which this runner has been on for his 2 career victories. So I'm going to go with Waco. Matt's going to go with the number 8 Sharp Swinger. Might be a good exacta. Might not get a whole lot of bang for your buck, but I think that is going to be a very solid exacta.
And if you really just want to try something in that respect as a gambler, if you want to play that exacta, I would say don't box it. Pick who you think on top.
Take a stand.
Go with it and then hammer hard. Don't do a $2 box, $20, $50 and hammer that hard. And if you win it, that's where the value is going to come.
There you go. Race number 9, our feature, I'm going to call it a co-feature, and you'll see why in just a moment. This is a first-level allowance option claiming of $200,000. And yes, there are horses in for that claim price of $200,000. It is 3-year-old sprinting 6 furlongs, scratch number 3, and also scratch number 8, Thunderhawk.
So we're down to a field of 8, which is good. I mean, it's a good, solid field. This late daily double, I'm excited for, Nancy. Anybody who likes
good nightcap.
Everybody who likes racing will like these 2 races. And this race for sprinters, 3-year-olds, a Dreamin' Blue, he comes out of the Rebel. He's probably not a 2-turn type of horse, at least on his best game isn't 2 turns. So he's getting back to the sprint game and also dropping in class. Perfect Force, number 6, another one. He was very impressive on March 2nd, breaking his maiden, a $625,000 sale purchase by Gunrunner. I sided with Dreamin' Blue. I'm just a little bit concerned with Perfect Force wheeling back in just 3 weeks. Actually, not even 3 weeks. It's a little less than 3 weeks.
Yeah, 19 days.
He ran a huge race. He'd never run something that fast before. Maybe the light bulbs turned on. He's shown sparks of talent in the past, but I just think it's going to be hard, first time against winners, wheeling back quick, to be able to run back to something like that. And Dreamin' Blue, his sprint races have been very good. I question his Beyer 2 starts ago, 94, although he did defeat Zatz, the one who came back to win impressively in a 2-turn maiden race. These 2 are clearly the ones to beat. I sided with Dreamin' Blue with the cutback and also a little more time between races.
Yeah, I did as well. If you look before, Dreamin' Blue broke the maiden second by just ahead to Innovator, who is another Lucas horse on the Kentucky Derby Trail. But yeah, might have tested the waters a little too deep in that Rebel Stakes. Not a bad effort when you really look at it. Was wide, just didn't get the ideal trip. Things didn't really go his way, but is going to shorten back up. Also gets back on Lasix today, and Randy Morris did tell DRF's Mary Rampolini that if things go well today, we could certainly see Dreamin' Blue in the Pat Day Mile, which is contested around 1 turn at Churchill Downs. So it might be that 1-turn configuration that this runner might really amp up for. But yeah, Dreamin' Blue, it is for me also in the 9th. I'm going to say the co-feature. The other co-feature is our 10th and final. This is a money allowance, 6 furlongs for 4-year-olds and up. 5 stakes winners in the field. This is a way you close a card. So let's take a look, as we did have multiple scratches, but still some pretty impressive runners taking out numbers 3, 4, 6, and also you're also eligible. So 3, 4, 6 out of the body of the nightcap.
And a few of these are nominated for stakes next week. So maybe, I'm crossing my fingers hoping maybe a couple of these go in those stakes races.
There you go.
And we'll see them later on next week. But Yeah, Nancy, fantastic race. I mean, this is like a minor stake, really.
It is. It is.
Just looking at the field, I'm picking a horse that's maybe not a stakes horse, but he's nice. His name's Red Flag. I picked him last time when he won. He went off at 4-1 as the favorite at this level in a large field, and he won that day with Julian Leperoux, who's back aboard. Most recently ran in a stake on synthetic at Turfway. Didn't appear to take to the synthetic very well, and also was in that stake. His 3-back effort in a stake race, not great in the Thanksgiving Classic. But you look at his allowance races, you look at his last 4 races, they've all come against allowance company, and he's won every single one. So I think the key is he's like an in-betweener. He's like probably a higher level allowance horse, not quite good enough to be in the stakes divisions unless you find a lighter field. So Red Flag is going to be the pick for me in here.
Well, it broke my heart not to pick the 5 Devil's Tower on top, one of my all-time favorite horses to run at Oaklawn. But they did go in this race because several other starter allowances for this runner wouldn't fill. So back in a pretty salty allowance here today, but certainly rooting for Devil's Tower to run second, as I am going to go with Glengarry as my top selection. Coming from the barn of Doug Anderson, Francisco Arrieta, looking to continue that amazing streak of victories, is super consistent. 8 times has produced 4 victories and 3 runner-up finishes. So also chooses the allowance today after scratching out of Saturday's Whitmore Stakes. Again, this is one of 5 stakes winners in the field. Very quick out of the starting gate, has natural speed, and will also get first Lasix today. So a really good way to close out a 10-race card. The late daily double could be a very interesting play for our bettors.
I think it will, and it's part of the late pick 4, late pick 5, late pick 3. So it's all part of those sequences. Should get a good amount of money. Nancy, one of the reasons I didn't pick Devil's Tower is because I thought you would. I'm like, okay, so I like Devil's Tower. I
Still
picked him
on my
second.
bucket list to go to Mato Tapila and climb Mato Tapila.
Okay.
Yeah, very.
Paul,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Road trip.
start saving up some money
Yeah,
because
right.
Nancy wants to go on a road trip.
Really want to go.
But I do like Red Flag. I
Yeah.
didn't pick Red Flag just because I thought you would pick Devil's
No,
Tower.
I get
but
that, yeah.
Devil's Tower, yeah, I think he fits.
Yeah.
Even though the starter allowance is probably more likely of a chance for an easier win. This is a tougher field.
For sure.
But I think he's up for the task.
And could certainly benefit from those specific scratches out of the finale
so.
as well. I love to see the amount of people that are already on track as we are just less than an hour away from live racing. They're here not only for the greatest racing in the country, March Madness is going on. It has been packed here, not only in the sports book, but also mainline sports, and also it's local spring break this week.
There you
So
go. That's
why
why
wouldn't you
we
want to
get
come
lots of
out
people here on a
and
Friday.
enjoy the beautiful, beautiful weather coming up? Matt's going to give us an show pet bonus parlay, as am I. In addition to our long shot and our top pick, Matt goes races 3, 7, 8, 10, goes double daddy issues. Is it Devil's Tower? Are you
Yeah,
using
I'm
it? Okay,
putting the
perfect.
second place
That's
horse in
awesome.
there.
I love that because you can only have to finish first, second, or third to
I like
benefit.
him. I really
like
do.
that from the show bet bonus. I'm going to go with the evens and go races 2, 4, 6, 8. Long shot play of the day. I don't think Waco, we're going to get a good price after the key scratches in the 8th, but Matt is going to open up with Spotlight from the barn of Ingrid Mason. Top pick sponsored by Oaklawn Anywhere. I'm going to go for Collected Glory, second off the claim for the Matt Williams barn in the opener, while Matt goes with Express Cruiser with Greg Compton in race number 6. A really good 10-race card. Excited about tomorrow's. Have you had a chance to look at the Essex yet?
I have.
And what are your thoughts?
Well, I think there's a lot of speed in the race.
There's an amazing amount of speed
So,
for a mile and an eighth.
I think Kinetic's one of these horses. He's sort of goofy. I mean, we showed it
He
last
needs
time.
things to go his way, possibly.
Well, he runs goofy. Like, he just swaps to the wrong lead. He's not the most professional
Yeah.
horse. He's got so much raw ability in
Yeah.
there. And we saw that in the General MacArthur, and we've seen it in past races. And at 8-5, I was just looking to try to beat this horse. But the problem is, like a Patriot Spirit, he likes to be close to the pace.
Yes.
And I just think Kinetic's going to get a good trip. So I think he's the horse to beat. But he needs to be more professional.
Yeah, he's a perfect 3 for 3 at the Essex distance of a mile and an eighth. I'm curious to see how Tarantino is going to ship in and run.
And
so.
he is shipping in to run. He was cross-entered at the fairgrounds. Him and there's one other horse in there, Kinetic, who was
Yeah.
cross-entered in the fairgrounds race. But I am very interested to see how he does because he's always been talented. He started in Bob Baffert's barn. He was actually in Ed Moger's stable,
Yeah.
believe it or not, and was a turf horse for him. But Tarantino, when he gets the lead, even though the pace is fast and contentious, he digs in. I mean, he's
gotta
tough
love
to
that.
run by.
You
so
gotta love that.
That I wouldn't be concerned about if you like him because
Yeah.
he runs his heart out.
And then the old hard knocking closer, Red Route 1. Man, I just love, they make me nervous. They make me nervous, don't get me wrong, whether it's sprinting or routing, but I love to see a true, like 20-something lengths behind the field and just go motor down the stretch. That's what gives me goosies when I watch racing.
I mean, Silky Sullivan back in the
Yes.
day, right? Zenyatta, we think
Great
about
example.
her. And it's great because with deep closers, the pace and other horses can make or break your race.
Right.
And that's why when you see these really
it's
good
critical.
deep closers, it's so much fun. And he's going to get a pace to run into, and he's got a
Yeah.
stablemate unload, owned and trained by the same people.
Yeah.
And might be old school Rabbit in there
There
to
you
keep that
go.
pace fast for Red Route 1. So he's gotten a fast pace and hasn't shown his best stuff
Yeah.
the last few starts, so he needs to improve, but he's going to get the pace, Nancy.
Yes, he will, whether he wants it or not. Matt's going to head up to the roof to give you the full set of changes while you will see me and Matt during the course of the race day, giving you our further analysis. So without further ado, good luck on today's Friday card, and be sure to join us tomorrow for Dawn at Oaklawn with the coach himself, the Hall of Famer, D. Wayne Lucas. Thanks for watching.
lovers rage, they turn another page. The fighting is worth the love they say. One love feeds the fire, one heart bears desire, one love who's crying now. Two
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching and wagering on Oaklawn Park. Folks, without further ado, we now ask you to please rise and remove your caps for the playing of our nation's anthem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can now get out your pens, pencils, and programs because we now have today's changes. Here they come. Our track condition listed as fast. Southwest winds coming in, 53 degrees currently, and sunny skies. Again, our track condition is fast. Here come the changes on a 10-race card. In the first race on the program, scratch number 7, Little Burrito. Number 7, Little Burrito, scratched out of race number 1. Also in the first race, number 4, Collected Glory, is 1 pound overweight. We start the early pick 5 in the first race today. We move along to race number 2. In the second race, scratch number 5, Pattern Bet, scratch number 8, Icy River. Numbers 5 and 8, both scratched out of race 2, the first leg of the early pick 4. In the third race on the program, we're clear there. No changes in race number 3. In the fourth race on our program today, scratch number 8, Chuck Will's Widow. Also scratch number 13, Lady Riley. Numbers 8 and 13, both scratched out of race number 4. Over in the fifth race on the program today, scratch the also eligibles, numbers 13 and 14. Take out the 2 also eligibles in race 5. And also in the fifth race, number 10, Polska Sue, is 5 pounds overweight. In the sixth race on the program today, please note number 5, JJ's Ranger, will be removing blinkers. The blinkers off number 5, JJ's Ranger, in race number 6. Also in the sixth race, number 1, Arthur, is 1 pound overweight. 4, Blessed Vision, 1 pound overweight. 6, El Queso Grande, 1 pound overweight. Race 6 begins that late pick 5, remember. The start of the late pick 4 comes in race number 7. In the seventh race, scratch number 2, Airborne Elite. Number 2, Airborne Elite, withdrawn from the seventh race. Over in the eighth race on the program today, scratch number 1, Piquant, and scratch number 5, One True Chance. Numbers 1 and 5, both scratched out of race number 8. Also in the eighth race, number 2, Missing Rocks, is 1 pound overweight. The penultimate race on the program is race number 9 today. In the ninth race, scratch number 3, Optical. Also scratch number 8, Thunderhawk. Numbers 3 and 8, both out of race 9. Also in the ninth race, number 7, Spiralizer, is 1 pound overweight. The nightcap is race number 10 today. In the finale, scratch number 3, Gold Luck, scratch number 4, Ninja Warrior, scratch number 6, Durante, and scratch the also eligibles, numbers 13 and 14.